Hopefully this quick film about your first assessment task will help you with the construction of yours. First, let's unpack the task. This common module is about text and human experiences, and it will be a multimodal presentation. Advanced, we'll be looking at Wasteland, the documentary, and one piece of related material. And Standard and English Studies will be looking at the film Billy Elliot plus one related material. We've asked you to do a graphic essay and present it in a viva voce. The advanced class also have an imaginative component. Now, it doesn't matter how you begin. I started with a graphic essay, but I also had an idea of what my thesis statement was going to be. And I knew that I was using Wasteland and Zenobia, the picture book, as my related material. I began prototype 1. As you can see, that was pretty basic, and I quickly moved on to prototype 2. It was better, and I made a graphic essay based upon that idea. I kept looking at it and thinking that it wasn't that great. I kept going because I'd already started. However, I decided that in the end I hated it and I was going to start again. It's okay to do this. Be proud of your work and use drafts to get to the best possible work you can get. That's why it's important to start early. This was prototype 3, and I was really inspired by a graphic essay found on the web. I like the divisions of each of the components and also how they link together through concept. I began by sticking images on pretty loosely so I could remove them and continue the planning as I went along. So if I didn't like something, I could just quickly remove it. The first image, as you can see, is strong images that convey the human experiences in text, hopefully evoking empathy and curiosity. I then added a map of Brazil and covered half of it with a Carnivale experience, which is how we usually see Brazil portrayed. And then down the bottom, it was turning into rubbish and going right down into the consumerism part, because it is Wasteland, the documentary, about waste and that being turned into art by the poorest communities within Brazil. I then added some other artworks from Vic Muniz, our artist in the documentary, to show the different components that he created. And then, as you can see, I started adding a little bit of a connection between them, and that is meant to be the rubbish that goes right through and then kind of turns into water as you go on the right hand side. And that's what connects the two components together: the human experience of having to work through rubbish and the human experience of trying to escape a dangerous place. Here is my thesis statement, which I rolled up and wanted it to make old because I thought that it could convey an old letter that, where people weren't being listened to, because that is what is happening in the text. People aren't being heard. As you can see, I kept adding visual components to it, trying to make it balanced. I added an envelope there as well because I liked the idea of these people trying to get their voice heard but never managing to do that. Up the top, I added a little fan out of her brain, and that is going to form the part of my imaginative essay, coming out of her imagination and creating empathy. And then I decided to use the red to go right across, and big splutters of red as that kind of violence and the bloodshed, the metaphorical bloodshed that has been caused because of the human experiences of these people. As you can see down the bottom, I also added one of those little, those things where you make choices that little kids use down on the bottom right-hand corner. And that was to show the loss of childhood and how children should be allowed to play rather than have to flee their country. And then over here is my finished product, where up the top I added a little quote about ethics because that's the question for advanced. Down the bottom I added some people lost in consumerism because that's where the rubbish is, and I managed to put my piece of writing in quite creative ways. So as you can see, the top left-hand corner is my thesis statement. Coming out of the brain is the imaginative writing, which is for advanced only. And then down the bottom, I've got an envelope where concept 1 would be, and then the little flippy thing that I was talking about that children make and play with, bottom right-hand side, would have my concept 3 in it. So that is the construction of my graphic essay. As you can see, it took quite a lot of prototyping and quite a lot of planning. And once I thought I'd started, I then stopped and started again and then looked on the website for some other ideas. So I hope this inspires you to make an amazing graphic essay. I look forward to it. The next video is going to be an example viva voce.